I'm going to show you 5 things you need to know before watching Avengers: Secret Wars. The 6th and final film in Phase 6 of the MCU is gonna be one hell of a ride. And while we have not seen the movie yet, there are still plenty of things we know about the upcoming film that will blow your mind. Starting with number 5, which is the multiverse. If you've been paying attention over the last few years, then you would know that the multiverse has been a huge storyline in the MCU ever since Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. In fact, that movie completely opened up the multiverse. We even saw it referenced in the latest Spider-Man movie where Peter Parker was fighting with Venom, and there were all sorts of references to other universes and alternate versions of characters. But Avengers: Secret Wars is set to take everything up a notch when it comes to the multiverse because, according to the trailers and what we know so far about the plot, it looks like multiple versions of the Avengers from different universes are going to team up. And if that wasn't enough, we're also going to see some very familiar faces return who we thought we had lost forever. Now you might be thinking, how is this even possible? Well, that brings us to number 4, which is the Beyonder. At the end of the last Avengers movie, Avengers Endgame, we saw an original Avengers member return in the form of Captain Mr. Fantastic. And now it looks like another OG member could be returning as well. We're talking about none other than the Human Torch, aka Johnny Storm. Now, obviously, the character died back in 2005's Fantastic Four, but he could be coming back in Secret Wars as a version from an alternate universe. And this would make sense since Secret Wars is based off the comic book storyline of the same name. And in the comics, the Beyonder is actually the one responsible for opening up the multiverse. The Beyonder is a being from a planet known as Battleworld, which is essentially made up of fragments from all the destroyed universes. Basically, the Beyonder collected all these fragments to create Battleworld, which is exactly what happened in What If? Episode 4, where we saw the destruction of the multiverse and the creation of Battleworld. So, it is more than likely that the Beyonder will be the main villain in Secret Wars, and that's why he's included on this list. He's a really powerful being that's capable of manipulating reality and the multiverse itself. So he's definitely someone the Avengers are going to need to be wary of. Number 3 brings us the new additions to the MCU. Now, even though we're getting a ton of new faces in Secret Wars, there is one that's arguably the most exciting, and that is no other than Adam Warlock. Ever since the end credits scene in Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 2, we've been waiting to see Adam Warlock appear in the MCU, and thankfully, we finally got to see him in the first trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3. And let me tell you, he is just as awesome as we hoped he would be. But that's not all. We've also got a couple of other new characters joining the MCU in Secret Wars, including the Fantastic Four. Yes, Marvel actually confirmed that the Fantastic Four are indeed coming in Secret Wars. And while we don't know much about the characters yet, we do know that they'll be played by Adam Driver, Kate Mara, Jamie Bell, and Toby Kebbell. As for who they're playing, well, it's rumored that Driver will play Doctor Doom, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. Another new character is Clea, who's actually the daughter of the fallen Marvel sorcerer, Baron Mordo. Clea is a powerful sorceress in her own right, and she's also the love interest of Doctor Strange. We actually saw her in the post-credits scene of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But it's unclear whether or not that will be the same Clea that we see in Secret Wars. Which brings us to number 2, which is the return of Kang. Okay, we can't talk about Secret Wars without mentioning Kang. In fact, it would be impossible to talk about Secret Wars and not mention Kang because he is literally the reason the Secret Wars happen in the first place. If you haven't been paying attention to Loki or the recent Ant-Man movie, then allow me to catch you up. So basically, at the end of Loki Season 1, we saw the introduction of He Who Remains, who's actually a variant of Kang. And in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, we saw the return of Kang. And we also learned that He Who Remains was actually trying to prevent a multiversal war from happening. And after his death, Kang took over and became the new ruler of the Time Variance Authority. So basically, Kang is now in control of the timeline, and he's the one who's going to be causing all of the problems that the Avengers have to deal with in Secret Wars. And, given what we saw in the trailer, it looks like Kang is going to be a big problem. He's a super intelligent time-traveling conqueror from the 31st century. And he's also one of the most powerful villains in the Marvel Universe. So the Avengers are definitely going to have their hands full when they try to take him on. But thankfully, we've already seen that the Avengers are pretty good at taking on powerful villains. So I'm not too worried. Which brings us to the number one thing you need to know before watching Avengers: Secret Wars, the ending of the multiverse saga. Make sure you go into this movie with the understanding that this is not only the culmination of the current saga, but it's also the ending of the Infinity Saga 2.0. Let me explain. So, ever since the release of Avengers Endgame, Marvel has been setting up a new saga that would eventually lead to Secret Wars. It began with WandaVision, and we've been following these storylines ever since with shows like Loki, What If, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and most recently, The Marvels. Each of these shows have been building towards Secret Wars, and they've been setting up the foundation for the multiverse and the new villains that we're gonna see. So Secret Wars is gonna be the Avengers movie that brings everything together, and it's gonna be epic. And then there's also the second part of that statement, which is the Infinity Saga 2.0. Ever since Thanos snapped his fingers and wiped out half the universe, the remaining Avengers have been slowly rebuilding and trying to restore balance to the universe. And it looks like Secret Wars is going to be the final chapter in that story. The Avengers are finally going to get a chance to take on a new threat and protect the universe once again. And I couldn't be more excited. So those are 5 things you need to know before watching Avengers: Secret Wars. Are you pumped for the movie? Let me know in the comments below. Also, make sure you stay tuned for our final review coming soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.